move back to Middle East, the Israel Prime Minister Minister's office has announced today that 2 more bodies handed over to Israel by Hamas were identified as slain Israeli hostages. The bodies were handed over by Hamas on Tuesday evening to Red Cross and was moved to Israel's Forensic Institute in Tel Aviv. This handover is part of a US-mediated deal under which Hamas is to release 13 more bodies of hostages held in Gaza for over 2 years. The first identified hostage is 85-year-old Ervi Zalmanowitz from Kibbutz, who was kidnapped during Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. It was later announced by Israel's army that he was killed in captivity. The second hostage, identified as 38-year-old Tamir Adar, who fought Palestinian militants during the attack and was wounded, Israel's army later announced that he did not survive his injuries. The Israeli Prime Minister's office has announced today that 2 more bodies have been handed over to Israel by Hamas. They were identified as slain Israeli hostages. Now we stay in the region. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights has reported that Israeli forces have crossed into southwestern Quneitra, setting up a temporary checkpoint before withdrawing. The monitor has said that 2 armored vehicles briefly advanced into Barikia village within the UN-supervised disengagement zone near the occupied Golan Heights. The vehicles then pulled back without arrests or gunfire. Earlier Israeli troops had detained a young man after stopping a civilian bus in northern Quneitra. The troops later released him without charges. Bordering Lebanon, Jordan, and the Syrian provinces of Daraa and Damascus, Quneitra has seen escalating Israeli strikes and incursions since the ouster of former President Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. Now for this discussion, we go back to Ali Muhammad Abushbak. He's a Middle East researcher, joins us live from Cairo. Thank you very much, Ali, for staying with us. Ali, can you tell us why this location is so sensitive, Quneitra, if I pronounce it, I'm pronouncing it correctly?
There is no doubt that it's violating the sovereignty of Syria. So Israel, it's always an attempt to, as Benjamin Netanyahu, he pledged to change the Middle East and the shape of Middle East. So he's trying to be just the only power in the Middle East, do whatever to do, and invaded any country and bombard any country without any response. So that's it, putting the sovereignty of several of country under the risk of the reckless Benjamin Netanyahu. So things make it the situation more incredible. So we are talking, it's not about Syria as well, because today and yesterday as well, just today Israel bombed Lebanon and the South Lebanon, and yesterday it was South Lebanon. I talked to several of friends from Lebanon. They are afraid of that Israel will wage the war again. So I talked to them and they said we are preparing for any moment Israel will wage a war again at any time. So there is no guarantee that Israel is not going to wage a war at any forces in Middle East, as well as in Syria. We have seen the clashes between Israel and Syria because of the Druze minority, and we have seen also several of Israel is trying to Israel is trying to interfere in Syrians' effort under the pretext of Druze minority. So the things make it more incredible. Despite, by the way, Ahmed al-Shara is ready to negotiate with Israel, and it was a direct negotiation between Israel delegation and Syrian delegation for cease, as they mentioned it. And yesterday with Ahmed al-Shara also, he resume. He released a statement. He said we most cooperated with security. In security effort with Israel. So that's showing how much Ahmed al-Shara is ready to cooperate with Israel and to have a relationship with Israel, a mutual relationship between Syria and Israel. But up to now, Benjamin Netanyahu, acting like the only power. There is no one could be demolished him, and could be no one dismantle the Israelis' power in the region. So that's it. Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to just only sell a fake victory for his audience in Israel, that he's trying to change the Middle East, and he's the only person who conducted a victory against Hamas on the ground and for next coming election. And by the way, most of the Israeli journalists, they are confirmed that Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to win in the next election, and he's not going to face as well his corruption charge in the Israeli court. So the thing is, I guess that Benjamin Netanyahu's political future, it's in the risk, and I'm not sure about his future, either he will be maintain his power or no. So this is make it him under the risk, and we have seen how much Donald Trump interfere and urge the Israeli president to interfere and stop and hold his corruption code, and to interfere in this kind of cases and end it. And we have seen several of statements from Donald Trump. He considered him as a war hero, and the victory hero should.
Thank you very much. Ali, thank you very much for joining us and sharing that insight. That was Ali Muhammad Abushbak. He's a Palestinian researcher, joined us live from Cairo. Now we move on, but we